I'm about to pull up like jumpers. Only think about them commas. 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 Only thing we got in common. I'm about to pull up like jumpers.
And you are watching the Pinkston Report. And today we are behind the scenes with Steven Sykes for the Restoration of the Queen project. We're going to learn more about this project and how you can get involved. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Pinkston Report. This is Tammy Pinkston, and we are here today with Steven Sykes, and we are talking about the Restoration of the Queen project. So how are you doing today, Steven?
Doing good. A little bit exhausted, wired, but I'm holding on.
So today, I was just filming the Restoration of the Queen, and so can you tell us a little bit about what the Restoration of the Queen project is, how you're involved, and how it got started?
Yes, Restoration of the Queen is a wonderful project started by Ms. Arthur Tracy Hardy Scott, aka Raw Silk, and what it is about bringing back the information and the aspect of community. We're trying to give recognition, not necessarily to the famous celebrities all across the world, but those unknown heroes, sort of like you see CNN heroes every Thanksgiving, but similar to that aspect, where we're recognizing powerful women who are doing wonderful, great things in history for our people, and just trying to get out there, and not necessarily black, but of all cultures, and we want to make sure that we give them the credit and credit where it's due. So with that, we're trying to set up a good and great event later on this year. It's going to be a masquerade ball down at Jefferson Hotel in Richmond, Virginia.
Awesome. Okay, so how are you involved in this project?
Helping out wherever can. We're trying to work on getting some more promotion out there.
Okay.
We're also working on doing some filming and photo aspects, and wherever else I can get my hands on just to help out, because this is such a very important project. Anytime we can honor women, it's important to me. Women should not be treated as second-class citizens in this world, and that's what we're trying to achieve and get that recognition.
How do you feel about women being treated completely as equals and things like that?
I never had a problem. I was raised by a very strong grandmother initially, and a lot of wonderful aunts and other family members. And as a man's travel, it's been hard because I've traveled a lot around the world in the U.S. and seeing how in some countries women are not as treated as well. But I have never had a problem. I feel that women should be taken more respect, given more respect, and taking on more responsibility than they're allowed to.
Okay.
Where we should have more women leaders. I've always found it interesting that in a lot of cases, when it comes to getting something done, you need something decorated, you need something done, cooked. It's not just traditional roles, just things that you want to organize. You always come to a woman, but then when it comes to either a leadership position, you don't want to put a woman in charge. I've visited a couple of churches where you see a woman head of all these different departments, but then they had an issue with a woman being on a bishop board or a pastor of a church.
Okay.
So in corporations, leaderships, and we see it a lot in a lot of different corporate things in the world, that women were not given the same opportunities as men, or when they do, there's all this backlash where they can't perform their job well because of all the hate.
Okay. So do you believe that sexual discrimination or discrimination against women, you think it's just mainly towards African American women, or is it women in general?
I think it's women in general. I think in certain countries it's a little bit more pronounced. Here in America is women in general, and then I think it's even more so within women as a whole, whereas a Caucasian woman may have some hate towards a black woman or Hispanic, and there's also the skin tone issue, the colorization that people have within it. I think it's in Europe not so much within the different races, but just women in general. It's very it's not homogenous. It's very not linear. We're looking to find a way to just get past that, and I think when you have events like this, it helps open up the doors that women can get along. You're not just all arguing, throwing wine and fighting each other, and then the next day you're friends and worrying if someone's sleeping with your husband or boyfriend. It's not about that. And I think when we get past that discrimination, women as a whole need to support each other, uplift each other, regardless of gender. Regardless of gender or regardless of race, women need to uplift each other and support each other. And keep moving, because at the end of the day, all we have is each other here.
Right. So what motivates you to get involved in women's rights issues?
As an early age, and it was not something where my grandmother honestly pushed me towards. It was a issue of, I just seen the level of respect and how people were treated, not just with my grandmother, but just in other cultures, from Hungarian to an Australian to a lot of Hispanic and different Caribbean and Native American, just a lot of different exposures that my grandmother allowed me to see. And seeing that and going to the libraries with my aunts and other cousins, it was always something where you see, women weren't just given a respect. I've seen people disrespect my grandmother. I've seen people disrespect my mother when we were getting on the bus and all these other different things. And I wanted to say something, but it was like, let it go, because that was just what people did with children. I mean, with women. But as I got older, when I had more of a voice and more of a power and an ability to do things, it was something I've always spoken out against. And especially, and then also just with women's sports as well.
Okay, awesome. So what advice would you give to men, single fathers out there who are raising little girls to become women? What advice would you give to those men out there?
One, pray. Pray. Okay. Because there's a lot of little girls that's always going to be daddy's girls for the most part. And they see that, once they get about 2, they can see they can get over daddy for the jump. So, it gets harder. Make sure you keep strong, powerful women in your lives. Have those early talks with your daughter about protecting themselves, sex, and safety. It was always one of those things, whether you're single or not, fathers try to stick away, especially when it comes to girls. And think about what you're doing, because a lot of those things, little girls are always, I've always said, sometimes punishment for men for all the things that you did. and because you're going to get it, because all the things you did is the same tricks, typically, so you have to break that spiritual curse. And you can do that by praying over them and try to stop all those different things. So pray, keep a lot of strong, powerful women around, so then that way they can help influence. And try to keep a different culture of women. Let women do all these different things. And don't assign your little girl to stereotypical gender roles. Sure, to cook and clean and all those other things. Those are things that just take care of yourself regardless.
Right.
But don't, whatever you do. And be careful what you say and speak.
Right.
Because that's how it does. And eventually you will possibly go back out to dating, and maybe, Lord willing, if that's something you decide to do, marry. Think about how you treat other women around you, whether you're not dating or dating, because your daughter will pick up on that. And then she will see that and say, hey, daddy, this was okay. So she thinks it's okay for another man to act or do something things. You're setting a standard. And whatever you do is going to last, and, it stays with your child. And it's going to be very hurtful, because a lot of times they always say women are more emotional than men and blah, blah, blah. That's BS. Women are emotionals.
Right.
And when you have these different things, you got to show how you handle conflict. Arguing. Typically, men don't want to express their feelings, or sometimes don't want to talk. That's wrong. You got to show your daughter that you have to have communications for relationships to work. Because when you show that level of love, your daughter's going to see it. And whatever you do, pound the fact that education first, whether you go to college or you go to trade or whatever, get some type of certificates or education. If you want to work, pound it in their head that before they decide to start a family, you get as much education as you want, because sometimes the family aspect takes care of first. And also stress the fact that when you decide to become a mother, or you do other things, or you're dating and everything else, she got to be put herself first.
Right.
And no matter what. Because the typical mistake, a lot of women say, well, I got to take care of this. That's typical, and that's understandable, because that's the nurturing, God-given spirit. And to be able to do that, you got to take care of first, because you can't take care of everybody else. If you don't do it first. I'm guilty of it. A lot of people are guilty of it. I'm not going to say here I'm perfect. But that's something that we really need to preach around women. So definitely pray, strong influences, education, get that straight first, and focus on themselves. But make sure you knock that diva mess out of the kids, because you treat them that way, and then they're going to expect life owes them something.
Right.
And we see a lot of kids that spoiled. They think that life owes me this. And when we work hard to have things, of course we want things to work better for our children, especially our daughters. But the problem is now we've become, our young women have gotten spoiled. and feel that we're old this, you're old that. So when you're 24, 25, 26, they're like, gee, still treat them as a human being. And you know, of course, we want to spoil, but make sure that they're grounded.
Okay, awesome. So what else should we know about the Restoration of the Queen project?
Very much, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always email me at enlivenradio, enliven radio@gmail.com. But first and foremost, please go to your Facebook page and look up author Tracy, Tracey Hardney, Hardney Scott, and her Facebook page, so you could do a variety of different things. You can also find everything at the Ms. MZ Boss Lady at gmail.com. Also, you can text on your mobile phone if you have the ability to text 48421 and type in the code ROQ17. Again, text 48421 and then code ROQ17, and you get a text information and everything about the Restoration of the Queen project. Also, pay attention to our walls and things. We're going to have a whole lot of more different things coming along, but definitely the Restoration of the Queen project is a very important project, and we're going to make sure that everybody has a lot of fun. There's tickets is coming out soon, so please, and get them early. We don't want this habit of we're going to wait a week or two out and then we want to go ahead and buy tickets. Let's not do that. But
so besides buying tickets, what can we do to support this project right now?
Right now, basically, please make everybody aware about it. You're going to see on our walls and my wall, please pass the message and everything else. Mention Restoration of the Queen. Prepare your children. Prepare the other women in your families. Let other people know. Find other things out there to help the women encourage and stop watching the madness out there with our reality TV. Okay. The date of the event is October 20th. This year. It's going to be 7 p.m. at the historic John Marshall Hotel. And then also you can contact author Tracy Hardney Scott at 804-322-0272. Again, that's 804-322-0272. We need sponsors. Very much. If you're an organization, especially a nonprofit organization, a business organizations, other groups out there, and we want you men out there. Don't sit there and say this is a women's event and you got a couple of nice guys that want to help. No, don't treat it like that. We need everybody in the community from all across the nation, all across the world. We need sponsors. You want to have a commercial? Call us. If you want to have a banner, call us. If you want to speak at the event, call us. We need sponsors. This is really something. And if nothing else, we want to set a gold standard that this is our inaugural event. And then when we get to the second and third and fourth and the future on, I'm really looking forward to that this be the shining example of what this could be for our young women and little girls, and not just the little women and our teenagers and the young women, but our older women who need that support. Right. We forget about that. You know, of course, we all talk about we want to help the kids and young adults and get them going in career. But what about those mothers who and single women or aunties and uncles and grandmothers who are sick, who need medicine, who just going through a hard time, job lays off, relationship issues? We need to support them. This is about holding each other in the arm and locking arms. I could care less what gender you are. It's about locking arms and supporting our women. So please come out and support and come out and do the things that we can do to make this a continual event. Okay, and again, that's going to be October 20th. But 7 p.m. at the John Marshall Hotel. You get tickets to start at $65. It's a very low cost event. It's going to be a wonderful masquerade product. So get your suit, tux out, and get ready for your masquerade mask and things, because I'm going to be there. We're going to do pictures there, and I'll do a lot of videos. So you'll see me running around all over the place, but make sure you catch me, because I would love to shake your hand and thank you for coming. All right. Make sure you guys support the Restoration of the Queen. This is Tammy Pinkston. You're watching the Pinkston Report, and we'll be right back with more from Steven Sykes. We'll find out what else he has going on. We'll be right back. This is Tammy Pinkston, and you're watching the Pinkston Report, and we are back with Steven Sykes, and we are on the set of Restoration of the Queen. You're getting behind the scenes footage, and you get to talk directly with the videographer for this project. So we talked a little bit about the Restoration of the Queen. Make sure you guys go to Facebook, find the page, like it, and get involved.
But right now, Steven, I want to talk to you more about what other things you have going on.
Oh, thank you. Well, first off, we transitioned from early this year from Enliven Radio. We were part of Legacy Internet Radio, and a wonderful station. A lot of great things going on, but we're transitioning to some other different things. Looking to go to with Maybe Help You Radio and also Fire. In addition, we're going to do a lot of wonderful things online with our videos and our interviews. We're transitioning to Enliven Global Media. And
Awesome.
the reason why we're doing that is because we want to get out there. We're always been out and about, reaching a lot of different issues all across the world, not just here. And I wanted to always share the world with the people from my experience, other people's experiences, and expose to a lot of people who may not have had the opportunities to get out to see things out there, you know, and talk about all the different civil issues and going on in other countries, war. And I think when you have an understanding and have a broad understanding of things that's going around you, you have a little bit more level of groundedness within you, and you can handle things a little bit better here in America, and also share ourselves with other people. So we're going to try to gather a lot more video interviews and get out and about, be at events and important events and things that's out and about in the community, fun, education, all that type of stuff.
Okay, awesome. So when is that transition taking place?
We transitioned through. We started throughout the early spring in September, and so now it's all running fully. And so you can go to Enliven Global Media website, Enliven Global ENLIVEN Global Media at gmail.com, and also enlivenglobalmedia.com. And you can see a variety of different things. You'll see me in a lot of videos of other places, events, some social commentary. You're going to see a lot of that and things. So we're going to definitely have it out there. So please make sure you send that stuff out. Contact us if you want us to interview us or whatever the case may be. So we'll definitely be there for you. You can also give me a call at 804-588-8069.
Okay, so now I kind of want to jump subjects a little bit because you are very political. I've read some of your Facebook posts, and you are very into what's going on and very concerned about some of the things that are going on in the world today. So, as you know, Donald Trump recently signed a bill that made it mandatory for drug testing for welfare recipients. So we also know that Donald Trump has put a ban on several Muslim countries. He's cracking down on immigration. So can you tell me how you feel about these things? Because you're a person that is very political. You study these things. You're very knowledgeable in this area. So please enlighten us.
What I feel, one, as far as the drug testing the bill, I'll be fine with it as long as everybody in Congress get to drug test every other week themselves, or weekly, for all the alcohol and the drugs and everything else that there's going on. So, like, you know, let's shed the light on both sides of the coin. The problem is everybody wants to make these laws and these big, grandiose things, but do not understand the long-lasting effect, the hate that's behind it, the motivation, either political or financial, 99% of the time financial, and the aspect of saying, okay, do this, and there's no level of thought, and a lot of it's just plain ignorance. So you're trying to drug test. Yes, there are people who may have done drugs. Find me something, find me a career. Anybody that's received anything or any part of their life that we have not had experience with somebody doing drugs. So to label and put that type of restrictions within people who are receiving social service and things is wrong. It's casting aspersions towards people and giving it a bad light. You know, you just might as well just labeling everybody with a felony, and everybody who's receiving aid is bad. The ones who are receiving this probably don't realize that somebody who helped take care of you, or you yourselves, were on these services. And even though your parents or family members or whoever may not have been doing drugs, how would you like the fact that your mother was held up because she's working, trying to do what she can, or, you know, receiving some type of aid and got to get up late early just to take a drug test, which means you are without your other things that you need to keep going. You didn't have to go through that. So why in the world are you going to do that to somebody else? A lot of people forget where they come from.
Well, I don't think Donald Trump ever came from a place where he needed to take welfare was an option for him. Like his family, he grew up with a family with money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
you know,
he
the
never
small
experienced.
This very small loan of $1 million or what have you, and it wasn't just that. We all know. So with that, the problem is that we failed as a community. I've pointed very heavily the finger towards our minorities and communities, especially our Black and our Hispanic communities, that we failed. We've always been a leader in so many different things when it comes to fashion, entertainment, sports, all these other different things. But when it comes to the step of our political world, we failed. People want to constantly say, Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama did not have all the help and blah, blah, blah. BS. You know why? Because whose fault was that? Ours. So you get him in office, but then you just fell back and think it was all just going to be a one-man job. We didn't follow up in our community meetings, votes for financial things, and we see different areas of town, either one side of the county or one side of the city, wherever you may be across the U.S., did not receive aid. We still have kids still without books. Just so many different things. Police harassment. We don't take care of the things civically. And if we're coming out 80-90% for one person, but then in your local elections, we're barely seeing 30 to 40%. So how is somebody supposed to be able to do something without that? Going forward, they work for us, and people forget about that they work for us. And they're not doing a job. You have every right to fire them. You have every right to sue them. You can start your own bill and find somebody to help you with that. Schoolhouse Rock works like anything, and just even your local state and county things, when they come up with these bills, when they come up with these proposals, you have a right to go there and speak about it. They cannot deny you, and if they do, blast them on the news, blast them on your social media, let them know, write a letter, send it to your Board of Elections for each state, because what they do is illegal. You do have a right to set up town halls. If they don't set up one, call them up on it. Even if you show up with one other person, you have every right to show up. Go to these town halls and these local meetings, and go out to your your General Assembly meetings in each state, and comes up with the laws and these proposals. Go there and speak about it. Stay on top of it, because now when you complain about, besides the tax, you got your food tax in your county and the extra gas tax, or why my kid has to do this. Did you read that book that you just signed at the back and sent your kid on the merry way? Right. Did you see, why we certain foods and aspects? So a lot of things begin with us, and we have to get involved socially and politically. We can't just sit back on the sidelines. They are a meteor coming after us here in the United States, and last I checked, Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck is not coming down to save us and drilling holes to explode it. We are the ones that's going to have to be the savior of our own selves in this county, just city, county, state, and this country overall, and we need to fight. It's no more about one color and things of that nature. We have to unite, especially in minority communities, because their problems, or whichever group you're from, is that we all have the same issues and problems. So we really need to get more involved.
Power Rangers came out with a new movie. Mm-hmm. I love the Power Rangers. Shout out to the Power Rangers. But one of the Power Rangers, the Yellow Ranger, is a lesbian. Disney recently released Beauty and the Beast, where they had a gay male character during that movie. How do you feel about Disney and Nickelodeon and children's networks putting gay characters into their movies?
So, I mean, I have a problem with people coming out saying these issues. It's the same issue when, oh my gosh, there's a black person in a major movie. Let them have their own black exploitation movies, There have always been gay individual LGBTQ communities everywhere. Obviously now out and about for the most part, but there's still a lot of level of hate. When you put things out there, sometimes unfortunately it takes entertainment, and it should not have to be, but unfortunately it's always been the level of when we get it out there in entertainment and sports or movies or TVs, when someone sees it enough that, oh, okay, this person's not so bad, and blah, blah, blah. When you conform yourselves to the negative stereotypes and things all the time, it happens. This is what happens. Let me give you a little bit of an example outside of that. If you remember Sanford Son, we had Julio. Right. And he did all these other different things, and this guy was a very great actor, but he did all these different stereotypes, and now people thought everybody was like Julio. And things. So now, when you have someone in a gay community and things, you see somebody interacting doing the same things, they just happen to be gay. That's their choice. and things. Let God deal with that for her just as much as God's going to deal with me. They keep on going.
I am against Disney doing it because Disney's catered to very small, impressionable children. But Power Rangers are geared more towards teenagers. I feel like by the time you get to as a teenager, you know whether or not you are gay or not. I think for the first thing, I really think, why are we even focused on their sexuality? They're children. Why are we even focused on their sexuality? If any other form of sexuality was brought up at that young of an age, it would not be tolerated.
We saw Bert and Ernie. Well, let's look at it this way. We saw Bert and Ernie and Sesame Street stay in the same room for years, sometimes in the same bed, and nobody complained. I mean, there was we talked when we do our history in our books in our early ages.